Hey guys, welcome back to some more reviews, and today talk about a film series. It doesn't really got a lot of sequels. I mean, it's got one sequel, but it's definitely one of my favorite franchise. Well, I don't want to say it's one of my favorite series of movies of all time. This, along with Hatchet, it's one of my favorite movie series of all time of like today's horror movies. You know, from like 2000 to now. These movies are definitely some of the best ones. I know that these movies don't have big budgets behind them. They didn't cost like $80 million to make, which I don't know why you need that much to make a horror movie. But I mean, I'm just saying you can make a horror movie with like $10 million, make it good. But you know what I mean? Like it didn't take like $30 million or $40 million to make a movie. But they're really good. I recommend the movies, especially the Hatchet franchise. I'm a big fan of that. I'm a little bit bigger fan of that than I am of this. But still a huge fan of this movie series, and it is the Laid to Rest films. Now, I'll be talking about in this video the first Laid to Rest, which is a modern day. Sorry about that. I interrupted this. Modern day classic, and the second one, I think it's actually a pretty good sequel. Chrome Skull Laid to Rest 2. Is it as good as the original? I wouldn't say it's as good as the original. But I still think it's pretty decent. Kind of actually looked like it had a bigger budget behind it. Just the way that it was shot and stuff like that. Just the way it looked. Seemed like they used a lot more money behind it. And there's definitely really gory kills in it. But these movies, with the Hatchet movies, are some of my favorite horror movies that have been released, you know, this age in horror movies. Like, you know, from 2000 to now, like I said, these are just some of the best ones in my opinion. And of course, we're talking about the first movie, Laid to Rest. Now, the first one is directed by Robert Hall, who's known for his makeup effects. He's been involved with a bunch of movies, but he's directed a few movies as well. Of course, he did the sequel. He did. Hang on. He did Behind the Sting, Lightning Bug, which I heard about. Laid to Rest 2, Teen Wolf, Fear Clinic, and Fear Clinic. I think the movie. Yeah, Fear Clinic the movie with Robert Englund in it gets a 5.4. And I heard about the other movie. What's it called? Fireflies. I heard about that movie, but I didn't see it, but I heard about it. And in my opinion, he did a good job on these movies. I mean, he really did capture the atmosphere and just the feeling of a classic horror movie, which is the same thing that Hatchet does. I mean, when you watch Laid to Rest and Hatchet, you get this sense of a good, old-fashioned 80s slasher movie feel. And they're fun to watch. I mean, you're watching them, and they got some good characters. This movie's got some good characters in it, good acting, in my opinion. And great gore effects. Probably some of the best kills I've ever seen. This was along with Hatchet, like I said. But some of the best kills I've ever seen. And really good makeup effects, like I said. And, you know, the score really wasn't much, though, honestly. I didn't really care for the score. The camera work was pretty good. But yeah, I mean, it's in my opinion, a great movie. And I know it's like, oh, but Nate, it's low budget, it's direct-to-video. I think it was direct-to-video. No, actually, it doesn't say it was direct-to-video. Did it get in theaters? It might have, because on here it doesn't say direct-to-video. It just says, you know, horror thriller, you know, in the release date, but it doesn't show. Hang on, I'm gonna see if it did get released in theaters, because it does have a little bit of a direct-to-video look to it, which it doesn't say it on here, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that this is direct-to-video, because it had a look to it sometimes that was direct-to-video. But even that, I mean, it's just, that's not even a problem because it doesn't affect the movie. I've watched a lot of direct-to-video movies, and I like to give direct-to-video movies a chance because, yes, majority of the time they do suck, but you do find good ones. Hatchet. I mean, you find this movie, and Hatchet. I watched a movie called what was it called? It was a zombie movie. I just had it in my head, but I just forgot it. But other zombie movies that were direct-to-video. Last of the Living. I Am Omega. I've seen those movies. A movie called My Mises Night Living Dead. What was that one called? I forgot the name of it, but it was about crazy zombies and psycho zombies. It was really good. And I forgot the name of it. But I got this 4-pack with zombie movies, and it had some good movies on it. The Terror Experiment. It's a little bit cheesy, but it still had some good things to it. I don't remember what it's called. Let me just type it in. See what pops up. I'm trying to remember what it's called, but I can't remember the full theme. It's like I can't even. It's like The Something, but I can't remember it. Well, whatever. I'll just mention it in another video. But it's a direct-to-video zombie movie that, in my opinion, was done good. And Anchor Bay. That's a good thing about Anchor Bay. The people behind this movie, the people behind the first Hatchet. And I believe after this, it says here that Image Entertainment and that's pretty much all it says. It doesn't say that Anchor Bay was involved with this sequel. And I don't believe, I believe Dark Sky Films was involved with. I guess Dark Sky Films helped. They were involved with Hatchet 2 and Hatchet 3. And the first Hatchet was, Anchor Bay. But still, though, I mean, Anchor Bay, what they do good is they can make some pretty good direct-to-video horror movies. I mean, you're wanting to see some, like, if you're a fan of these old school classics from the 80s, slasher movies, I'm a big fan of them. And, and you don't really like the newer stuff that they release, watch Anchor Bay stuff. They make some good stuff. Behind the Mask, Rise of Leslie Vernon. I don't know if this one's good. I've heard it kind of sucked, but it was a movie called Spiral. I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard about it. But yeah, I mean, I can't name off all the movies by Anchor Bay, but they do like DVD releases for older movies like Children of the Corn and I believe Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead and Evil Dead. So I mean, if you want some good, classic slasher movie, horror movie stuff, go to Anchor Bay. They got some really good stuff. I mean, like I said, I just mentioned a few of them. I can't remember all of them, but they release a lot of good movies, and they're direct-to-video, and they're really good. I've seen some of them; they're actually really impressive. The Demented. I just remembered that name of that zombie movie I was trying to remember. It's called The Demented. I think it is. Hopefully, I'm right. Demented. Is it that? Yeah, The Demented from 2013. If you haven't seen that movie, get a 3.8 on IMDb. Kind of ignore that rating because it's a lower budget movie. I know it says 3.8, but ignore that rating because when I watched it, I was impressed. It had some good camera work to it, good acting, good atmosphere. I like the idea of the zombies sort of being half zombie and half crazy. So they'll start running, they'll be like, ah! I know it sounds kind of stupid when I describe it, but they did it good in the movie. It kind of worked in the movie the way they did it. Of course, I know some people are going to be like, well, it's cheesy. Well, it's just, I personally think the idea is pretty cool, because it's being different. And the acting was pretty cool. The acting was pretty good. The atmosphere was pretty cool. And I thought altogether it was a good direct-to-video movie. The Demented. Check it out. It's really good, in my opinion. But yeah, Anchor Bay releases some good horror movies. And I know that most of them get low ratings on IMDb, but I think you have to kind of ignore those ratings because they're low. It's a low budget movie, so people are going to go into it think it's going to suck. You know, I know not all people do that, but you know, it's just a direct-to-video movie, and you know, it gets ratings like that. But ignore some of the bad ratings, especially the one on The Demented, because that's a good movie. But anyways, back on Laid to Rest. Laid to Rest, I know 10 minutes and I haven't talked about the story, I'm so sorry. But Laid to Rest is basically about a young woman who wakes up in a casket, and she doesn't remember anything. She's, you know, got amnesia. She can't remember who she is or where she's from. And there's this guy named Chrome Skull who is basically, he has a camera on his shoulder. Really cool look of the killer with the chrome mask. He takes like glue, puts it on his face. Doesn't have like a strap on the mask. Just like puts glue in the mask and puts it on. Records. Has these two freaking big knives. And he's going around following her, trying to chase her down and kill her. And she gets picked up by this person named Tucker, played by Kevin Gage. And pretty much he's trying to help her out. His wife gets killed, and they pretty much meet this character named Steven, played by Sean Whalen from The People Under the Stairs. And pretty much her, Tucker, and Steven have to pretty much fight back against Chrome Skull, and they're being chased around. And you know, there's a lot of death scenes that are very, very awesome. I mean, they're gory. Makeup effects is all practical. So, you know, I mean, you got a lot of death scenes. You got this death scene where, spoiler alert, where a guy gets a knife in the side of his head, and he pulls up and his face comes off, like right here. Like from the bottom lip up, his face comes off, like his freaking head. And the girl, his girlfriend, tries to run away. You just see Chrome Skull go, Shing, and she's running. She goes turning around. Her freaking cut, her wound, like her freaking cut, opens up, and her guts freaking spill out everywhere. It's freaking gory. And there's one where Tucker's wife gets pushed to the side of the wall and gets a knife in her head and slowly pulled out. It was really, really gory death scenes. Steven gets like this, I don't know, what is it, like a can of gas or a can of air or something like that, put in his ear. I think it's like tire sealer or something. I can't remember what it was. But he like fills his head up and his ear inflates like it's about to burst. And his face starts to freaking, you know, inflate until it pretty much explodes. I'm like, holy crap. This one guy gets his freaking head sawed off. So, you know, and the girl, she also gets her head sawed off. Not the lead girl, but another girl in the movie. She gets her freaking head cut off. And it's really, really gory, and the mega effects are done really, really well. And you pretty much get to the end of the movie where they go to this gas station, and Chrome Skull freaking goes in there because you find that Chrome Skull kept the girl, and he talks to her through the cell phone, and he tells her to go in there and talk to the people in there. And pretty much these two people outside the store, they mess with Chrome Skull. And not two people, but I think it's the gas station cashier pulls out a shotgun. He's like, freeze! And Chrome Skull freaking walks up to the guy, grabs a barrel, pushes up against the guy's face, and pulls the trigger. And the guy's freaking skull, his face goes like, and blows the freak up. It's freaking crazy. And you got pretty much the lead girl, Tucker. The lead girl and Tucker fighting back against this guy, and also you got another person named Tommy, played by Thomas Dekker, who I think was from the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. And they're in there trying to fight Chrome Skull off, and the girl pretty much puts super glue in his mask. He puts it on. He can't get it off. Goes to pull it off, and really well done makeup effects, where he pretty much pulls off the entire front part of his face. And then this is where I didn't get it. It's sort of like See No Evil 2 with Kane, you know, that movie. It was sort of like, this guy is human, and this girl takes a freaking baseball bat and bashes his brains in, and, you know, Tucker, no, I don't think Tucker survives, I think he gets stabbed and he dies, but her and Tommy survive, and they drive off, but it didn't make sense because in the sequel, they just sort of bring him back to life, but it was like, dude, he got his face smashed in. How are you going to bring him back? At least in Hatchet, there was a supernatural thing behind it, but in this it's like he's a human, so I don't get why, like why they decided to bring him back in the sequel. Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the sequel, but it didn't kind of make sense because, like, he's human. If you get your brains bashed, you're not going to survive that. And he comes back in the sequel, and it's like, it doesn't make sense. But it's a little problem I have with the movie. So you could say that's one of the little problems I got with the movie. That and the score wasn't really that good. But, like I said, the lead girl and Tommy, they drive off, and the police get there. And I guess you could say this is sort of a sequel route where the camera's sitting right there, and you see like a hand go over the camera. And I think in the sequel it explains it. I think so. But so I haven't watched. I'm gonna have to watch that movie again. I haven't seen the sequel in a while. But it does sort of have a sequel ending. But like I said, it just doesn't make that much sense because it's like he got his brains bashed in. So that's another problem. But besides that, besides the ending kind of being a little bit bad with the whole, not the ending, but actually, you could say that because, actually I can't, because that's actually a problem with the sequel. So, I mean, it's kind of half and half. It's kind of the first movie and the second movie, because the second movie brings it back. But in the first movie, the ending was a hand going over the camera, which you do see in the sequel who it is, but in the first movie they made it seem like it was going to be a sequel ending. So, whatever. I don't say it's a problem. But the score wasn't really that memorable. I didn't really remember any of the songs besides the end song. He's like, die, die, die. And it's like, this song goes, I can't remember her at all, but, I know there's like a song at the end of it, like, die, 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 you effer, die, 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 you effer. Something like that. I can't remember it. But besides that last song, which wasn't, honestly, I mean, it wasn't really that memorable. But besides that end song, I really couldn't remember the music. Even the opening music, I couldn't remember. It was just like, meh. But great characters, fun movie, has a great slasher movie vibe to it, from like old school classic 80s slasher movie vibe to it, which is cool. Gory, it's like gory, good makeup effects, well shot, well directed, and I really don't have any more problems with it. Besides the score not being that good, and well, the other problem I can just sort of X off because it's in the sequel, but besides the score not being good, there's no other problem with it. I'm a big fan of this movie, big fan of these films, and I will probably be talking about the second movie a little bit later. I have to watch it. I'm not sure if I'll do it tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to review it tonight. I might review it tomorrow. So, yeah, we'll probably talk about the movie tomorrow because I got to watch it again. But thanks for watching my review on the First Laid to Rest movie. And if you haven't seen it, check it out. And so yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next review. Bye, guys.